Foreclosure filings are up 18% year over year in August of 2025. What's happening, and are we headed towards another great financial crisis?
Oh my God.
In this video, we're going to talk about what is going on with these rising foreclosure rates. I have a couple of articles I want to share with you, and we're going to discuss which states are seeing the highest rate of foreclosures, what's the reason behind them, why are people filing for foreclosures, and what is this going to look like for the future? Are we headed towards a crash? So let's get into it right now. So the topic of foreclosures are popping up again in the news. Now, are we headed towards a crash? Not at the moment. Not at the moment, but experts are fearing that we are in a trajectory towards that scenario. I mean, I hope we are not, but it could be. Now, the foreclosure filings are still well below pre-pandemic levels, but there is a cause for concern because we are seeing in some states like a significant rise this year versus last year in foreclosure filings. So let's dive into these articles and figure out what the heck is going on right now. The first article I have is from the World Property Journal. And it says here, U.S. foreclosures rise for the sixth straight month as affordability pressures mount. U.S. foreclosure activity climbed again in August 2025, marking the sixth consecutive month of annual increases as high borrowing costs and stretched household finances begin to weigh more heavily on homeowners. Some 35,697 properties had foreclosure filings last month, according to the real estate data firm Adam. That's down 1% from July, but 18% higher than a year earlier, underscoring what analysts say is a slow but steady return to distress to the housing market. It goes on to talk about the regional hotspots. Foreclosure rates were highest in Nevada, South Carolina, and Florida. Nationwide, 1 in every 3,987 homes had a filing. In Nevada, the figure was 1 in every 2,069. Several mid-sized cities saw the sharpest impacts. Lakeland, Florida, topped all metro areas with 1 in every 1,212 homes facing a foreclosure filing, followed by Columbia, South Carolina, and Chico, California. Among the largest metros, Cleveland, Las Vegas, Jacksonville, Houston, and Orlando posted the highest foreclosure rates. Now, let's take a look at foreclosure starts. They're saying that foreclosure starts were higher. Lenders started the foreclosure process on 24,254 properties in August. Little change from July, but nearly 17% above last year. Texas led with nearly 3,000 starts, followed by Florida, California, New York, and Illinois. New York City recorded the most foreclosure initiations among large metro areas, trailed by Houston, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Miami. Foreclosure completions. Completed foreclosures when properties are repossessed by lenders rose more sharply. Nationwide, 4,077 homes were taken back in August, up 5% from the prior month and 41% year over year. Texas, California, New York, and Illinois had the highest totals. Chicago, New York, Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas ranked as the major cities with the most repossessions. Now, they do go on to say the foreclosure levels remain muted compared with historic norms, but the trend line points upward. If high mortgage rates and home prices persist, analysts warn the housing market could see more distressed sales in the months ahead. The trajectory is unmistakable. We're seeing foreclosure activity gradually reemerge as a pressure point in the housing sector. So this is what's happening, guys. So they're saying here that the high interest rates, the high home prices definitely are having an impact because the wages have not caught up with the high home prices. I want to dive a little bit deeper into what's going on with Nevada and Florida. And I'm going to talk about South Carolina because South Carolina, that surprised me a little bit. But Nevada and Florida, their economies rely heavily on tourism. Now, when you have a slow-growing economy, which kind of have that going on right now, people aren't spending money. They're not going on vacation. So Nevada has taken a hit. I've been seeing this a lot lately when I'm doing my research for my live streams and even here for my weekly videos. Nevada keeps coming up every time. It's because their gambling industry has taken a major hit. So Realtor.com actually went into a little bit more detail about Nevada's problems, and I wanted to share with you a little bit what else is going on in Nevada. So Realtor.com goes on to say it is tourism, right? The lack of the tourism, there's been a decline in people in spending money on gambling, but there's other things that are going on here. So it goes on to say tourism is closely linked to the state's gambling industry, which pumps billions of dollars annually into the state's economy. But the latest available data shows that casinos have not been earning as much money as in the past. The Nevada Gaming Control Board's 2024 fiscal year report revealed that $31.5 billion in revenue overall, but net income dropped 24.4%. The total revenue is defined as all the money spent by patrons on gambling, rooms, food, beverage, and other attractions. Net income is what casinos make after expenses have been paid, but before subtracting federal income taxes and accounting for extraordinary expenses. Las Vegas, Nevada's most populous city and the state's key economic hub, notched the nation's third highest foreclosure rate among the top metros at 1 in every 1,914 units. At the same time, homes in Sin City have been piling up on the market this summer, fueled by an exodus of retirees and real estate investors. In June and July, the city recorded the biggest annual inventory growth among the top 50 U.S. metros at 77.6 and 65.7%, respectively. That is a massive increase in inventory. As inventory grows without additional demand for homes, home values fall and homeowners' mortgages become underwater, meaning that they owe more in their home than what it's worth. These homeowners are often struggling to make their mortgage payment, and now that even selling the home can't get them out of debt, may end up defaulting instead. I just wanted to remind you, if you are in need of a real estate agent in your market, whether you're going to be buying or selling a home, I have a free service and I love to help you out. So scan this QR code or click the link down below, fill out the form, and I will get back to you with an agent in your market. So this is what's going on in Nevada, right? So you have, their economy is suffering. People aren't coming to vacation there. So therefore, people end up losing their jobs that work in the gambling industry in Nevada. And now you have all these people that are looking to get out, right? Investors want to cash in, they want to pull out, and now retirees are looking to leave. So when you have a big influx of inventory like that, 77%, good Lord, now the values come down, right? When you have more supply, less demand, you're not going to command your price. And a lot of these people who bought their homes, they bought them back in the early pandemic when the prices were soaring, right? Because the interest rates were really low back then. So people just took advantage of that and they were paying astronomical prices for their homes. Now, unfortunately, those values are coming down, therefore putting people in that situation where they're underwater on their mortgage. Now, Florida is experiencing the same thing. Florida's economy relies a lot on tourism. And I have quite a few realtor friends down in Florida that I feel horrible for them, but they have been struggling a lot this year. So Realtor.com also talked about Florida and what's going on there. So they say here in Florida, the state's housing market has been through a rough year. Sellers struggling to offload their properties due to waning demand and facing high foreclosure rates. According to the Adam report, the Sunshine State had the second highest number of foreclosure starts, which typically involves a notice of default at 2,891, and the third highest number of foreclosure completions at 241. Among the 110 metros with a population of at least 500,000, 3 Florida cities stood out for having some of the nation's worst foreclosure rates: Cape Coral, Lakeland, and Deltona. Looking at major metros with a population over 1 million, Jacksonville, Florida had 1 in every 1,893 properties face a default in July, trailing only Houston, which had 1 in every 1,882. Now, an economist for Realtor.com says the foreclosure activity in the U.S. as a whole could be elevated due to expectations from buyers in recent years that mortgage rates would come down significantly and they would be able to refinance their mortgage payments to a more affordable amount. Instead, mortgage rates have remained elevated and recent home buyers' budgets have remained stretched thin. The adage, Marry the home, date the rate is an enticing proposition for buyers in a high mortgage rate environment. But when rates don't come down, the gamble doesn't pay off. Now, I wanted to touch quickly on South Carolina. As I said before, South Carolina really surprised me. I did not expect to see that on the list. But South Carolina, I believe, has the same thing where the cost of homes went really high, yet the wages stayed down here. So now people cannot afford to pay their mortgage, right? They're having a hard time. They have rising insurance costs, right? Property taxes, although South Carolina typically has like lower property taxes, but their wages can't keep up with that, right? They can't keep up with the rising costs. So that's what I think is going on in South Carolina. They do have some tourism there too. In my research, I found that they really didn't hit on tourism as being a cause of the problem, like similar to Nevada and Florida. But nonetheless, South Carolina is going through the same thing, which is, I was really surprised at that. Another thing that's going on in South Carolina is the foreclosure moratorium that happened during COVID that was lifted. So a lot of these completions have happened like this year. So a lot of their foreclosures are due to that. People are coming off of that foreclosure moratorium from COVID. Now, I want to go back to that statement in Realtor.com article where it says that people bought these homes at the elevated rates with the hopes that they would come back down and refinance. That stupid adage that was going around a few years ago, marry the home and date the rate. Now, look, I'll admit I did use that term in one of my videos a while back when this was going around because there was that speculation, oh, the rates are going to come back down. Look what's happening, guys. Look what's happening. So there were people that probably bought homes like when rates were 7% or higher. I mean, remember at one point, it was in 2022, the rates hit almost 8%. So if people bought back then and the rates haven't come down enough to make it worthwhile to refinance, now they're struggling, right? And people bought these homes with the hopes that, hey, yeah, I'm going to be stretched thin a little bit for now, but rates will come back down and I'll refinance. And they haven't come down enough. I mean, now they're struggling. So will this trend continue through the rest of the country? I hope not. But according to these analysts, we could be heading in that direction. The trajectory is pointing in that direction. And look, affordability is a big issue right now for everybody in the United States, even whether you're a homeowner or not. It's just everything is so darn expensive right now. So my advice to you, if you are looking to purchase a home, please shop out your interest rates. I just helped a client close on a home and he got an amazing interest rate. Why? He talked to, I'm not kidding you, he talked to 5 lenders to see who had the best rate. And he did really well. Listen, it takes time, right? People can't be bothered. They're like, I don't want to talk to another lender again. I don't want to go through this process again. And blah, it's worth the effort, guys. It really is. So talk to multiple lenders to get the best rate possible. And also, don't forget to have all your money saved in that emergency fund. Am I a broken record? Yes, I am. But I'm going to scream this from the mountaintops. You need to have your emergency fund saved up before you even go and buy the house, before you even look at the house. You got to have that stashed away. God forbid you have any emergencies come up after you close on your home, you are covered. You don't want to be in a situation where you can't afford your mortgage payment. Fortunately, we are not at the levels of the great financial crisis back in 2008. But if this continues, we could be reaching that level. I really hope not, but I really hope now people moving forward, when they're looking at purchasing a home, they're making the wise decisions as far as who they're going to work with with their lender, and they're going to get a low interest rate, and they're not going to overpay for a house. Okay. And sellers, get real with your prices, because if you're not going to sell for what homes sold 5 years ago. You're not. Get real with your prices, and hopefully we will get back to more of a balanced market. Hey, if you want to know more about what's going on with the housing affordability crisis here in the country, if you want to see more videos, I got them right here. I got you covered. So go check them out. Thank you so much for watching me today to get your dose of real estate reality. My name is Jackie Baker, and I will see you next time.